So you want to learn how to read tarot. First, burn the little white book. It's useless. You don't have to literally burn the little white book, but I like burning things. It's fun. So I have this little cauldron for such purposes. You'll see the same things again and again and again in all the little white books, the same short descriptions for the cards in the upright and the reverse. Life is a lot more complicated than that. So I disobey the little white books. If you want to be a good tarot reader, I strongly suggest you tap into your intuition and disregard the definitions and the cliches of the little white books. So I got this deck at Half Price Books a couple of years ago, or about a year ago, and I was put off by the ugly illustrations, the non-artwork, and the half-assed descriptions on the cards. So you see the cliche descriptions, which serve no purpose. I think physical descriptions of people have no place in tarot. You want to go beyond the hair color and the eye color. That's pretty superficial. Okay? The world in the upright. Well, I guess you have victory and stability of some kind. You're in a really good place. The world in reverse. Maybe you're struggling with an addiction. Maybe you have no peace of mind. Maybe you're homeless. Maybe you're in between jobs. Maybe you're making the trek to Coinstar so that you can get your groceries with pocket change. So I got the same deck, received the same deck actually as a birthday gift from Five Below, and I took the deck and I repurposed it using magazine cutouts and Scotch tape. I collaged the back of all of the cards, just random, non-thematic, abstract collages. I try to avoid themes in my artwork. I'm not trying to hit someone over the head with some didactic message. It's absolutely abstract expressionism. Freedom of expression. So on the back, the collage. On the other side, using cheap acrylic paints, I did these abstract paintings for every card in the deck. There's only one card from this deck that I left somewhat intact, and it doesn't show up in this video. I didn't pull it, but it's the Tower card. I love the Tower illustration, so I just did minimal revision to that piece of art. But I did a collage on the back. So with this abstract deck that I made myself, it would absolutely be nonsensical to write a description for every card and to write an upright and a reverse meaning. What I'm getting at here is that life is more complicated than an upright description and a reverse description. Life is not a fairy tale. Life is not a linear narrative. in the 1950s in America, we had these television shows like Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, where there was a white family, white dad, a white mom, 2 or 3 white kids living in some 2-story brick house in suburbia. The dad works, the mom stays at home and bakes cookies, and they have milk with every meal. I've never known that reality. That was not my reality growing up in Texas in the 1970s and 1980s. I had a lot of turmoil and upheaval in my life, and so it would be impossible for me to approach the tarot using fairy tales, cliches, looking at it from the perspective of someone who is stuck in some kind of sitcom, I don't know, from 1957, 1958 America. Because for most of us, that's not a reality. Most of us don't fall in love and get married at the age of 19, 20, 21, 22. We don't marry someone who has a really good job, and we don't live in a 2-story house, and we don't have milk with every meal, and we don't live in some safe, quiet subdivision where the biggest controversy is Beaver got caught copying someone's test answers. Some people are fortunate. Relatively speaking, I'll use my maternal grandparents as an example. Yes, they fell in love in the 1950s in Texas, America, in high school. They were teenagers when they fell in love. They got married as teenagers. They had 4 children, 3 children who lived. My grandmother's 4th pregnancy resulted in a stillborn, but they had 3 children that they raised. And they were married for over 6 decades until my grandfather's death in November 2016. But their life was hardly a fairy tale. It was not a fairy tale marriage by any means. They certainly had their problems. It was complicated. But they were one of the fortunate few who stayed married to one person for decades. It's pretty rare. My mom is on her 3rd marriage. My dad is on his 5th marriage. I've been married and divorced twice. And I've lived with 5 different men. And my life has been a carousel from hell, a roller coaster from hell. So that's how I approach tarot, with the complexity of my experiences. All the complexity of someone who has survived the psych ward, someone who has been homeless, not living under a bridge homeless, but driving from place to place, everything I owned crammed into my shitty car and Walmart bags, following my heart to hell and back. If you're deeply, devoutly romantic, as I have always been, and you follow your heart, there's going to be some fallout from that. There's going to be some wreckage. So, this is why I don't approach the tarot in a lighthearted, sugar-coated, fairy tale kind of way. My life has been complicated, complex, extreme highs, extreme lows. I have several oracle decks, but I use the oracle decks very rarely at my channel. I mostly stick to tarot. So in an abstract deck, like this one that I made, you have nothing to rely on but your own intuition. You don't have the pretty pictures. You don't have the little descriptions like the oracle cards that tell you you're calling in your soulmate, or you finally found true love, you finally found the one, or an oracle card that tells you you're in a twin flame connection. And I question clients who come to me and they want to know if this person is their twin flame. You know, I tell them first and foremost, no reader can tell you if someone's your twin flame or your karmic or your soulmate. That's complete and total bullshit. The cards provide clues. But my question that I pose to clients is, what does that term even mean to you? What does the twin flame journey even mean to you? Are you just curious because you've heard it a million times before in various YouTube videos? Do you think a twin flame is someone that you're just wildly attracted to? Do you think a twin flame is someone you can't stop thinking about, someone you're obsessively thinking about? Because I know from my experience, if that's the case, then I've had more than one twin flame, because there has been more than one man that I have obsessively thought about and felt a strong physical attraction to, someone I could not get out of my head. And of course, we all know you can only have one twin flame, but there's all kinds of contradictory information at YouTube on the twin flame journey. So I ask clients, what does the twin flame journey mean to you? Go beyond the cliches. Think about it long and hard. Do you really believe that this person that you're obsessively thinking about shares a soul with you? So this deck I bought at a Botanica in San Antonio on a whim. There was no book included. So, Queen of Swords, and symbols that I'm not really that familiar with, and words that I would have to go to Google Translate to figure out, because I only speak English. I speak very little Spanish. I have maybe a toddler's grasp of the Spanish language at best. I don't know French at all. So I could have a lot of fun going down that rabbit hole of Google Translate with these cards. I just love the images. I haven't used this deck at my channel yet. I would like to. But from my perspective, again, with a deck like this, upright, reversal, it's not going to have a lot of meaning. It's like I've said again and again at my channel. The way I read the cards is I read the spread in its totality. I look at the context. I look at the card's positions. You know, if you have, say, a 12-card spread and you've got 10 of Cups in the middle, but the 10 of Cups is surrounded by swords, that probably means you're not going to have that happy ending that you crave with your person of interest. If you do get to that quote-unquote happy ending, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. I'm using a metaphor. I'm not being literal. There's going to be a lot of pain, a lot of struggle to get to that blissful union. So, reverse, prosperity, okay. Four of Pentacles is often described as holding on tightly to what you have, being super attached, not letting go. Reverse, consolation. That's interesting. Three of Pentacles. You're working on something with someone in the 3D, mundane reality, the waking world. It's like I have said a lot at my channel, and it's in the description box to every video, my main focus at my channel is on romantic sexual relationships. I don't get into wealth, career, finance. I'll do those videos on occasion. I don't get into health at all. The castle, the tower. I love that imagery. A client will come to me on occasion and they'll want to know if they're going to have more children or how many children they're going to have. I'm not a psychic. You know, there are some readers who they use all kinds of descriptions for themselves. They're a psychic, they're a medium, they can channel, they can talk to people who have passed on to the 5D or whatever, people that have died. I am an intuitive card reader, and that's pretty much it. I'm not a star seed, I'm not an indigo child. Okay, the Hermit in reverse. So I can't tell you how many children you're going to have. I can look at the cards and interpret the cards. The Empress suggests fertility. Okay, the Hermit, and it's like I say a lot at my channel with clients, when these cards were first designed centuries ago, cards such as the Hermit and the Hanged Man had a lot more significance and relevance than they do today, because there were people who were martyrs for their faith. You know, people were hung, they were stoned, they were eaten by lions in arenas. People literally died. They were crucified for their faith. Now, most people, if we're going to be real, most people are not on a true spiritual journey. It's pretty rare. Someone who's literally going to be in hermit mode, someone who is going to remove themselves from society. The Marseille deck, this is the CBD Marseille. For the minor arcana, the reversals have no meanings. How can you read the reversals? You really can't. I guess someone that's really adept at reading the Marseille can tell you, oh, this is reversed, but you pretty much have to read these cards at face value. Okay? 3 of Wands, 5 of Wands. The Marseille is not going to spoon feed you and help you out with the imagery like the Rider-Waite and the new modern versions of tarot. So the Hanged Man in reverse. What does that mean? What does that mean in 21st century reality? The Hermit and the Hanged Man. So obviously in a case like this, you have to go beyond the Little White Book. From my experience and observation, most people are not anywhere near being on a spiritual path that is as deep and profound and devoted as the Hermit or the Hanged Man. So the way I read the Hanged Man usually in a spread is someone who is passive. People want to know if their person of interest is going to contact them, what their feelings are. If you see the Hanged Man, it's safe to say this person's not taking action. They're not going to contact you in the foreseeable future. It's very passive. It's the most passive card, from my perspective, in the major arcana. Okay? The Hermit, someone who doesn't want to be fucked with. So, King of Wands, and he has these wands above him, someone who is really sexually ravenous, someone who's having a lot of sex, or they want to have a lot of sex. The wands are also about creativity, someone who is super creative. They could be writing, doing art, music. King of Wands in the reverse, someone who is not especially creative, someone who doesn't have vitality, someone who is not sexually ravenous. The Empress, the Divine Feminine. If you identify as the divine feminine. What exactly does that mean to you? Don't just watch a bunch of videos and decide, oh, the twin flame journey, that sounds exciting. Okay, I'm on the twin flame journey and I'm a divine feminine. And my person of interest is the divine masculine. And, get caught up in all that runner chaser bullshit. It's very unhealthy. I don't recommend it. Yes, I do the occasional twin flame reading at this channel. I've done maybe 3 divine masculine readings at this channel, but I will never be one of those readers who just goes on and on and on and on about the twin flame journey, because I feel like it's overdone and I don't feel like it serves any purpose. I don't feel like it's a reality for most people. From what I know of the twin flame journey, you have to be on a spiritual path to truly be in a twin flame connection. So with the playing cards, I have fun thinking up songs that remind me of the card. 3 of Cups, I see that as a hedonistic, casual, sexual relationship. Let's spend the night together, the Rolling Stones. Ace of Pentacles. So it could be a really good day that results in really hot, passionate sex. 3 of Wands. The initial rush and blush, the blush and rush and crush of physical attraction, being really hot for someone. 7 of Pentacles. Let's have sex and see where this goes. Eight of Wands, I call that the sex card. Consistent communication, sex-based communication, sexting. So you were sexting for a while and you got together and you had really good sex. You met someone online possibly and you started sexting fast and furious. You had sex in person and it was enjoyable. Could result in marriage eventually. Happens. What do we got? King of Cups. At some point, he catches feelings. 9 of Cups. And you got your wish fulfillment. No matter what, bad finger. No matter what you are, I will always be with you. Well, that's the Holy Grail, isn't it? That's what we all want. Good sex with feelings. Ace of Swords. Truth. Pristine. Honest communication. Thank you, Billy Joel. Nine of Pentacles. You got to realize your value before anyone else can. 6 of Swords. Could be long distance. 8 of Swords. I could leave, but I won't go. It'd be easier, I know. Mr. Collins. We all get stuck from time to time. We get stuck in our heads. 2 of Cups. The best cards in the deck begin with each of us. We have to find the 2 of Cups in ourselves first and foremost. The Ace of Cups in ourselves first and foremost. It's no good. Depeche Mode. Beautiful song. The diamonds are pentacles. The hearts are cups. Spades are swords. Clubs are wands. Love is now. I first bought this book. This is like my 2nd or 3rd copy. I first bought it years ago at a library sale in Bridgeport, Texas, the town I was born in 1973. Got this at a library sale for A quarter, 25 cents. A Hallmark book published in the 1970s. What feeds your soul? What sets your soul on fire? Look for inspiration. Look for signs in everyday life. Don't come to the tarot as someone who does not have any life experience. Don't come to the tarot as someone who is numb, who doesn't feel, who has not deeply felt life. Don't come to the tarot as someone who has not had their heart shattered into a million pieces. Because if you come to the tarot like that, you're going to be really boring and uninspired. Come to the tarot as a hungry seeker. Come to the tarot as a poet, an artist, someone who sings and doesn't care how they sound. You sing because your heart dictates it, because your heart is overflowing with song, with beauty. Come to the tarot with deep reverence and respect for life, for your life, not for the little white books or the cliches. Fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with your life. And then come to the tarot and fall in love with the cards and apply the cards to your life. I've gotten comments before from people who, I guess they were well-meaning, but they said that my channel would never grow because I was talking about myself and my son too much, and I need to be more professional. I had a client when I first started reading for clients almost 2 years ago, and she said that it was a terrible reading because I talked about myself and my life too much, and that was unprofessional. To that, I say, bullshit. That's why I am a good reader, because I bring my life and my considerable experience into my readings. I don't read generic. I don't read like a robot. I put my heart and soul into this. An old, badly stained book, but it's pure fire. It's magic. The Pill versus the Spring Hill Mine Disaster. Richard motherfucking Brautigan. Absurdity. Embrace the absurdity of life. This is all a game. We shouldn't take any of this too seriously. We're here for maybe 100 years if we eat all our vegetables and we walk a couple of miles and we're lucky. We don't get cancer. We don't get COVID. We get maybe 100 years down here on this planet. So don't listen to anyone who tells you they got it all figured out and it has to be a certain way. Make your own way. Embrace the absurdity of this life. That's my recommendation. So, General Custer versus the Titanic. Ending this with waiting. I think I pulled 2 cards for this last sequence. The Queen of Pentacles. The Earth element. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Know your worth. Don't wait for someone to come in and tell you, this is how much you're worth. This is why you're valuable. Establish that shit yourself. Hold on to whatever it is you value. In the words of Janis Joplin at Capricorn, don't compromise yourself. You're all you got. So, Queen of Pentacles and one last card. And I don't recall which one it was. What do we got? The Four of Pentacles. Cling to whatever it is you value. Having a tarot channel at YouTube, I get all kinds of advice, criticism, suggestions. Shuffle the cards on camera. Don't shuffle the cards on camera. That's really fucking boring. At the end of the day, it's going to be the way I want it to be. And people will be on board with that or they won't.